Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel, and this week's learning will be about gluteal strengthening, which can then be used with our previous presentations on GTPS and deep gluteal syndrome. So I generally use 4 themes for my gluteal strengthening. So 1 is a squat pattern, 2 is a hinge pattern, 3 is a bridging pattern, and the final one is the sort of the lateral hip stability. So working on that lateral side. So hip abduction, side planks, farmer's carries, those kind of things. So starting off, we're looking at the bridging. So obviously in supine, into the bridge position, hands nice and relaxed, squeeze your buttocks and just lift all the way up and down, and then up again and down. Make sure the knees don't come in together. You're keeping your legs hip width apart, sorry. Progression, if it's really, that's a bit easy, you can do the offset. So you take one leg further down, one leg further back, and then you're pushing up. And then as it gets easier, you could do one-legged. So if I twitch that way, and then up and down, up and down. So a progression from a normal bridge to offset bridge, single leg bridge. You can also make them harder by using TheraBand or dumbbells, but then we progress to the hip thrust. So on the side of the bed, shoulder blades on the bed, pillow underneath. Now you're going to hinge, so you're coming down and then push up and squeeze your buttocks. So it's hinging down. So following the bridge progression, the hinging, so some patients have a real problem trying to get the hinge. So lots of different cues. So one is using the stick and you're putting it just sort of around the belt line at the front. So you're basically coming back as you're doing it. So from the side, knees bent slightly, and then coming back, and then up, and then back, and up. As they get easier, you can then go without. So knees slightly bent, and then back in. And then up. So you can progress with a dumbbell. So in that position, knees slightly bent, all the way back, and back up. So knees slightly bent, all the way back, and back up. And you can also progress that to thrust, sort of swinging thrust. So basically you can do, if I'm using this, it's a 2.5k. So knees slightly bent, and you're going to start in here. So the next sort of exercise is the squat variation. Now, depending on what population you work with, my population that have different conditions like GTPS, they are quite deconditioned. They struggle to do anything like the weight, so it will be literally sit to stand type postures. But obviously, if they're better than that, then obviously you can carry on. So literally sitting. If they need to use the hands to start off with, that's fine. If not, crossing, but literally coming up. And squeeze at the end. As they get better, it might be you just want to progress that by doing light taps. So literally tap and up, tap and up. As that's easier, we can then do it without. So literally standing and down and back up. Prior to the single leg, So we can also do, just before we go on to the single leg squat, is actually holding on, getting control around the hip. Again, what we don't want is that. Okay, so keep them level. We could progress them if we need to single leg. Sometimes some people need support. So what we're going to do is keep their knee bent, and then we're just going to squat down and back up. Try to have light. And then the final progression is step ups. So you can literally just come up and down. So we've got a band looped. You're going to feel it around here. Sliding discs. And you just put it on, and then you can slide out like that. So here we have a farmer's walk. Now obviously I'm only using a 2.5 because it's just showing you the technique. So say I'm wanting to work my right side, you're going to do, you're going to hold it in the left, don't let it pull you down. So you're trying to tighten up here. So gravity and the weight's wanting to pull you down, you're holding yourself up. So literally coming up, get your core in, and then just walk. So the final exercise for lateral stability, you can lie on your arm, feet. This is where you need to get a bit further up. And then just like that. So bottom foot and arm,